In typical fashion, RTD of Denver, Colorado, has so many employees in the Civil Rights Department and the Paratransit Department that are so against people with disabilities. First of all, RTD charges 4 times higher than other communities for paratransit, known in Denver as accessoride. The federal term for accessoride is paratransit. I can't help but notice that para is kind of like paralyzed. Yeah, that's another issue. They're denying people who are paralyzed and quadriplegic access to accessoride. But that's for another video. So they're charging 4 times higher than other communities for paratransit. RTD is now planning on removing the free fixed route use for paratransit passengers. I've watched many people over the years say that RTD needed to charge fares for fixed route for people who use paratransit. Most of these people fall into 2 categories. One, these people are not disabled, they do not take paratransit, and they do not live on a fixed income from tax dollars from everyone else paying taxes. 2, maybe they are disabled, but they do not take paratransit, and then because of a horrible idea called ableism, they plague their ideas to destroy others' lives. Ableism is the curse of death for other people who are disabled. For the history of RTD and paratransit, people who use paratransit are passively encouraged to take fixed route and rail to lower the demand for paratransit. The carrot is free rides on fixed route and rail. The ADA says RTD cannot change paratransit needs without huge acceptance from the public that will be affected. And by the way, APAC, the ADA Paratransit Advisory Committee, does not satisfy this need, not by a long shot, especially since the Civil Rights Director, who should not be there, frankly, claims that APAC is not giving advice at all. The history of RTD and Easter seals shows that Easter seals and RTD, about 6 to 8 years ago, gave away hundreds, if not thousands, of accessoride IDs to people who were poor but not disabled needing paratransit. Yet, yes, this is a fact. They did this. Why did this happen? Because RTD wanted to give poor people free rides on fixed route. It was RTD back then that broke the law, giving away paratransit to people who did not need it. People who are disabled who take paratransit are, about 95%, most often on public financial assistance. You all pay taxes, and we get financial support each month. RTD already charges 4 times higher for paratransit than other communities. This is so wrong because RTD is breaking so many ADA equal needs to fixed route in dozens of ways. Paratransit is supposed to be synonymous to fixed route. If it's not, it's discrimination. Thus, a serious substandard service is supplied through paratransit. But we pay 4 times more than other communities, and we pay twice what fixed route passengers pay. We pay a huge amount for a serious substandard service. I can give you pages of ways that RTD is not treating paratransit the same as they treat fixed route. B, RTD is breaking the ADA by denying paratransit to people who cannot walk. The total count today is around 540 people in wheelchairs can no longer use paratransit. Zami Silva should not be the civil rights director because of this one unlawful discrimination that she fights for and approves. And Paul Hamilton is in that category, and Gretchen Vindegar is in that category. Ed Newberg was in that category, and Ann Hillier is in that category. If you cannot walk because your legs don't work, or if you're quadriplegic, your legs and arms don't work, you shall be denied paratransit. But that's for another video. C. People who use paratransit are most often people who have multiple disabilities, not just one disability. Having them pay to ride fixed route and trains is a huge problem. So big shall create more. So big is this problem. It shall create more invalids, people stuck inside their homes because they are treated by RTD as invalid. Take me, for instance. When I ride paratransit, I have an ID in a pouch hanging from a necklace around my neck. This way, I can reduce my cognitive needs during the stressful boarding process. I have to try to remember before the confusion of leaving my home and boarding the shuttle to put the $5 or the ticket equaling $5 sticking out of the ID pouch. Oh, a little aside. If you ride fixed route, there's close to a dozen ways you can pay for your trip. Well, there's a lot. If you ride paratransit, you only have 2 ways. Then I have to rely on the paratransit driver to take the ticket from me because I am overwhelmed with the boarding procedure. I cannot remember to pay the driver. Boarding a fixed route bus or train is 39.8 times more stressful for me. To get to the bus, I have to ride my chair in the streets for a mile and cross dangerous intersections. I have to wear big headphones to block most noises, sensory input from traffic, lots of people. I can't look all around me because that's more sensory. And confusion at the bus stop. I've worn the headphone sound blockers during the whole trip on fixed route or trains for the same reason. Most drivers still board the person in the wheelchair last, which causes more problems. Navigating the tiny entrance is so complicated, then people are in the way, their bags are in the way, the driver might be in their seat, the operator may be in the aisle behind the securement area. Some drivers direct me to the securement area by standing behind it. Then a conversation about straps. I often have prepared my phone with huge text on the screen. For instance, Havana, no straps. Because I am so overwhelmed with my Dane Bramage, I get slower with speech. When I am overwhelmed, my speech declines greatly. What are the 2 root causes RTD is now seriously entertaining charging a fare to paratransit riders when they take fixed route? 1, RTD still is shamed by giving away hundreds of accessorized IDs based on income need, not what AR is all about. In conjunction with this, Easter Seals and RTD have been inept for over a decade on how to use eligibility testing when not to do testing. That's for that other video. This alone has created much confusion for RTD, Easter Seals, and the community. RTD wants more money to pay bureaucrats Instead of firing the unnecessary Paul Hamiltons and Hilliers at RTD, RTD is denying people in wheelchairs access to paratransit. That's what they're doing to save money. Yes, and there are individuals who work at RTD and First Transit who will be subpoenaed to testify before the people of United States of America in court that RTD is trying to reduce the service and Access-a-Ride to save money. So they're denying access to Access-a-Ride for the people who need it. And their first target is people in wheelchairs. I kid you not, this is for real, but that's for another video. And now RTD is going to collect fares from people who would otherwise be taking paratransit. That's their idea. I would like to look into the effectiveness of their positions and how egregious they've acted against people with disabilities. Collecting fares on fixed route trains for people who use paratransit shall cause more people to not participate in the community. Invalids become invalid in society. Taking paratransit is 4 times as costly as other communities and is truly a horrible service besides the cost. Taking fixed route is dangerous, not harder, but dangerous, and now is going to cost money. Oh, this will take more time. Persons with disabilities have a hard enough time boarding fixed route. This is going to take more time on fixed route. The driver will have to leave their seat again if they forgot to personally collect the fare. And if the fare is using a digital fare reader, that is 2 trips for the bus operator, from the front to the securement area or the front-facing seats for elderly or disabled, and then back up to the front, holding that individual's phone or whatever, and then doing the fare and then going back. Do you have any idea what you're doing, folks? To whom you're doing it to? And what are the consequences? I think not.